Hi, everybody. This is Donna Anderson, and I'm author of lovefraud.com. And today I'm with Dr. Karin Huffer. She will be presenting a course for Love Fraud Continuing Education called How the Americans with Disabilities Act, the ADA, supports traumatized clients in court. Dr. Huffer is a licensed marriage and family therapist, and she developed the concept of the legal abuse syndrome. She wrote a couple of books, one of which is called The Legal Abuse Syndrome, and the other one which is called Unlocking Justice. So, Dr. Huffer, it's so nice to be with you today.
Oh, it's so nice to be here, Donna. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So, you describe people with exploitative personality disorders as power-centered. And what happens when someone who has been traumatized by one of these individuals has to face them in court?
It's disastrous, Donna. And if we can just form the picture of how do you get to court with one of these people to begin with?
Mm-hmm.
Usually, when you meet them, they're the most charming, intelligent, warm, loving people you've ever met. You think you've met your soulmate, your best friend, whatever. You develop a relationship. Pretty soon you find that it's all turning, and suddenly, well, it isn't too suddenly, it's kind of gradually, you all of a sudden say to yourself, oh my God, I don't have any civil rights anymore. So when you find that your bank account has been taken, your property is liened, your family relationships are damaged because you've been talked into borrowing money that you shouldn't have, your credit is ruined, all of these kinds of things. And you are trying to reason with this person. Say, but I love you and I've taken you in and we've done all this and these memories and we've worked together. We're so good together. And it's your best friend.
Mm.
And then you find you're in court and you are against a person that uses nothing but power. Now, they fit in our adversarial court system beautifully. They love our courts because our courts give them every opportunity to do all of the manipulative power tactics that they use. The main one that they use for power is lying. And so you find that you get into court, you're all prepared, you knew what you wanted to say, you have your evidence, and they come in lying and cut you off at the knees. They also use stress and pressure. They've gotten to know you well. They know all your vulnerable points. So when you're going up against them in an adversarial manner, they're ready for you. You get in that courtroom and they're laying you out with lies. They're attacking your character. They're usually calling you crazy.
Mm.
So when you have to face off with them, what do you do and what happens? Sometimes, in the worst of cases, if the people are pro se, that means unrepresented, you end up on the witness stand with this person questioning you, unless you find that there are federal laws that protect you against that. The other thing, you can be left with all the responsibilities, all the worries, all the issues with children and paying bills and properties, etc. They saunter into court. They've already commandeered all the finances. They come in with a lawyer they've paid well, or at least for the moment they've paid well, because they'll use the same tactics on the lawyer eventually. But they come in together and they're so together. And they look at, the judge looks out and sees, oh, he's all together, got this powerful lawyer. She's all disheveled. Left half the papers on the counter because she forgot them because she was dropping the kids off and having to deal with everything. Low on gas because she's short of money because he took it all. What does the judge see and what is the perception? So you get involved in the issue of, oh my gosh, how does the court see me? How is the court looking at this? You must manage your perception in that court. And it's very, very hard with the whole adversarial team calling you crazy. Now, one thing I want to get out there is that crazy should be the new C word. It is the word we're not allowed to use because it has no medical or legal value. It's only used to discredit you. But it works.
Mm-hmm.
There are physiological responses to lying as well. So not only is your heart broken, because the worst is losing your best friend, but you're finding that you're deep in debt. You don't have much societal support because some of them were probably trying to tell you, but you wouldn't believe them because this person was so convincing. And so you wind up alone, isolated, beat up, broke, just your heart broken on top of it, and really not trusting anybody again.
Mm, mm. Oh, it's such a disastrous situation. So, how can the Americans with Disabilities Act help somebody who's in this situation?
Well, what we have to see here, and this is a blind spot in American society, and it's the stigma. The whole stigma of what's just happened to you, and then being called the C word. And then you go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or the court sends you for an evaluation if children are involved or something. And so you wind up with this evaluation giving you a diagnosis. Usually it's a traumatic stress injury. It's something that's normal. It's a normal reaction to an abnormal situation. But all of a sudden, aha, you've got something. Now we got you. Now we're going to use this. And they say, oh my gosh, if I try and use the Disabilities Act to protect me, it's only going to get worse for me. I don't dare admit it. Now you've got two problems. Now you're covering up from the court your symptoms. You're exhausted. You're symptomatic. You can't hear a lot of the time in the court. If you have PTSD, you're missing a lot of what goes on in the court anyway. So you need to use the federal law that is there to help you. But three or four things you need to remember that are key, excuse me, is that it is an absolutely confidential process. It is also not discretionary. The judge does not decide this. The judge has to accommodate you. It's a mandate. Came out of Washington, ministerial, administrative, and he has to accommodate you. You go to court administration. The place that handles this issue is the same place that does the wheelchair ramps. The judge doesn't decide if you can use the wheelchair ramp or not. Court administration has to provide them. Same thing. So if you understand that and you say, wait a minute, this is confidential, it's my right, and when I take this to court administration, what I get for that are accommodations. They alter things. They have to change things. I have to have things I need in order to have, and always remember, you must have physical, participatory, and testimonial access to that court. If you get your body in there, that's not access. Access is your ability to function with executive functionality. That means protect yourself. So you can have things like appear from another room, not even be in the same room with this person. You can have things like an advocate with you who is trained to help you get through the day and to help you organize, stay organized. You can have breaks. You and your advocate can call for a break, go out in the hallway, talk, get you back in shape. We deal with 8 steps that help you to not be too re-traumatized every time you go to court. It's critical that you have certain accommodations like recording, your own private recording. Now, I hate to say it, but what we're finding is there's an awful lot of altering of transcripts going on.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have your own, one, you're left with, if you have any memory deficit, you can't go out in the hallway, rewind and replay. That's the reason we need it first. Secondly, though, we have cases where we have the court recording that was officially made, the court transcript that was written, and they don't match up, let alone the one we have. So you have to be able to protect yourself. You are up against a person that is power-centered and motivated by psychopathic tendencies. And you have to be very careful and protect yourself.
So, what do mental health professionals need to know about this ADA accommodations?
Well, they need to understand there is something that can be done. I've done this. So this was how I found this. In my practice, my people that were involved in litigation did not get better and stay better the same as those that were not. And that's how I first got to thinking, oh my gosh, could litigation be a variable in whether a person can benefit from counseling or not? Well, the key is re-traumatization. Every time you go to court, you're reliving it, and half the time you're getting beat up by the same person that did it to begin with. So we have to understand that everybody involved is affected. The mental health professional sits there and sees this coming back, and I mean it can be years. Back, and they can't get the person well. So they start to get worn down from it. The benefits start to run out. The whole situation begins to deteriorate, and unless they can define it and deal with it somehow, this patient is just left in the lurch all the way around. I have mental health professionals that say, yes, I've diagnosed you, and yes, I can see this is what's happening, but I don't go to court. Wait a minute, what have we just done to this person? The other thing, the mental health professional suffers. They get compassion fatigue. They get worn out from it. And pretty soon, they dread seeing the person come through the door because they feel helpless. Well, the minute I can show a doctor, an MD, a social worker, a marriage and family therapist, a psychologist, you only have to tell them one thing. Go to your court, go to the ADA Access Coordinator, read these laws. Understand what the law is, and you have coverage just like a person with a wheelchair. You have to have the ramp, and they have to let you have that chair with you. And this is something that can help them. And sometimes it empowers the behavioral health professional enough, they will go to court with them. And they should. We can't leave these people abandoned. It's hard. You know, it's hard to do those things because you get beat up too. But the law is on our side. It's federal. It's a mandate. It's civil rights. It's a public health issue if we don't use it. And so I encourage people, take the risk. It usually is really worth it. The only legal game changer I've found.
So this is what your course is going to be about, teaching mental health professionals how to take advantage of this law in order to support their patients. Is that correct?
And themselves.
Okay.
And themselves. Because every time you see one of these very unjust situations, it has a ripple effect. And it affects everybody. It'll affect the family, the mental health professional, the mental health professional's family. Injustice is a real human need. And when we are denied justice, and it is as hard to get to as it is in our society with the adversarial system, we need these tools. And yes, I really encourage them to take the class.
Great. Okay, Dr. Huffer, I'm so looking forward to your presentation, and I think it's going to help a lot of people.
Well, thank you so much, Donna. I had a really good time.
Great. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.